So today, since we've been talking about cortisol, the body's main stress hormone, a lot this week, I thought we could have a little conversation about what this hormone is meant to do, how it gets out of balance, a little snack that you can make that's super simple, not a ton of ingredients, to help balance your cortisol levels, because blood sugar is critical to balancing hormones or to balancing cortisol. And then we'll go and do a little breathwork exercise to help to calm the nervous system when you feel that cortisol getting out of balance. So let's start by talking about what cortisol is. It is your body's main stress hormone, and what it is supposed to do is be there to regulate, first and foremost, your sleep and wake cycles. And so it should be highest in the morning, prompting you to feel like you have a ton of energy to get out of bed. And then when midnight rolls around, it should be about its lowest point, where you are getting that good, deep REM sleep. So the thing about cortisol is that it doesn't just regulate that. It also is a survival hormone, and it regulates a ton of other processes in the body, whether that's your immune response, your inflammation levels. It regulates your fertility. It can, partially because of the impact that it has on estrogen and progesterone. It regulates your metabolic rate of fats, proteins, and carbs, your immune system, so many different things. And so cortisol is good when we have it in the right amounts. It helps us when we are in stressful situations, which, you know, you're about to get in a car accident, you swerve out of the way, cortisol goes up to get you in that mode of like, I'm gonna be a good defensive driver, and then it should come right back down. The problem is with most of us, we are always on the go, we are always on our phones, always on technology, never having breaks within the day, having these emotional stressors, having these, physical stressors because we're chronically dieting, and cortisol is elevated all the time. And when that happens, we can have detrimental effects on our body, whether that's slowing down our metabolism, causing autoimmune diseases, causing fertility issues. We can cause insomnia. There are so many things that goes wrong when cortisol is chronically elevated. And so one of the best things that you can do is start to really regulate your blood sugar. When your blood sugar is stabilized, that is a great way to start to prompt your body to feel like it is safe. And so we're gonna make a quick snack. This is one of my go-to things that I'll have in the afternoon between clients and meetings and all those different things to keep my blood sugar stable between lunch and dinner. Or somebody who has dysregulated cortisol, you're likely having really bad cravings for either salt or sugar. And when you start to control your blood sugar, you start to prevent insulin spikes, and you start to prevent leptin resistance, which are going to make you feel like you are in control of your cravings. And so we are going to make a smoothie that is high in fiber, high in fat, and high in protein, because protein and fat are really your blood sugar's best friends. And we don't want to be afraid of fat. Fat does not make you fat, it just helps to stabilize that blood sugar. So we're putting in about a cup of frozen cauliflower for a good amount of fiber, half of a small avocado for some healthy fat, and then a couple of spoonfuls of this. I like this brand, Cocoa June. I just found it at the store in the last few weeks. It's a high fat coconut yogurt. And so it's about 18 grams of fat in one serving, which again is going to keep your blood sugar levels nice and stable. I highly recommend, if you're trying to work on your blood sugar and your cortisol levels, eating every 3 to 4 hours, because it's predictability for your body. Just like your body relies on circadian rhythms for sleep, so too does it rely on these rhythms for food. It likes predictability. Your body likes to know when to expect the next meal. That's how it keeps your blood sugar and your insulin stable. We're gonna add a little bit of Celtic sea salt for its mineral content to help replenish all of the minerals that your adrenals need to function properly. We are gonna do 1 scoop that is a 25 gram plant protein powder, all 9 essential amino acids, because it is a pea protein. And then I'm going to add a few pieces of turmeric. I just throw those in to the blender with everything else, and some unsweetened almond milk. The turmeric is just for fighting inflammation, and this is just to sip on through the afternoon. So we're gonna blend this up, and then let's go and do that breathwork exercise. I know I poured this into 2 cups, but this can be a serving for one person. I'll probably drink both of these just throughout the afternoon. So let's go. Okay. On the mental health side of things, I think it's really important to look at this because in my opinion, that's really where cortisol elevation, it could look like everybody's, life is the same on the outside, but then you go inside into their head and you see all of these like perfectionistic thoughts where they're comparing themselves to other people or setting incredibly high standards for themselves or putting like these unnecessary deadlines on themselves. And that absolutely contributes to cortisol elevation. And so looking inward and going in and doing the mental work is such a critical piece of this puzzle. And so I highly recommend either some form of meditation to start to activate the body's stress response and start to activate the parasympathetic nervous system to bring down chronically elevated cortisol levels, maybe journaling to understand some of the perfectionist rules or standards that you're setting for yourself and how you might want to slowly start to create some wiggle room for yourself to break those rules. You may want to do breathing exercises like the one we're about to do, but anything that's going to bring your body into a state of rest and digest. You want to look at, do I have either breaks in my workday, or do I go right from work into my home life, not having any sort of a reset? You might want to incorporate some sort of short mental reset before you go into spending time with your family. You want to make sure that you are looking at your screen time and potentially some time for a digital detox. I like to do these big, long, elongated ones because I can just tell when my nervous system needs it. But if you're somebody who is addicted to your phone, maybe you start with just taking one day of space away from your phone, or a couple hours of space away from your phone, or at least before bedtime, taking that space from your phone. That's a really big part of this. And that's also going to help you to start to unwind a little bit more and start to allow your brain to produce more melatonin so that you can get that better, deeper REM quality type of sleep. So you want to make sure that you're doing all those things. You can do other things to wind down, whether that is putting essential oils on. I have a really good sleep essential oil from Campo. You can do things like taking an Epsom salt bath, stretching, but just not activating your brain and your nervous system with social media, trying to upload all of this new information. That's going to raise your cortisol levels unnecessarily. And when you don't sleep at night, when you don't get that quality sleep, it's going to make it so that your cortisol is even higher the next morning. So you're going to feel anxious and fatigued at the same time, and like you have insomnia and you have digestive problems and all of the things that we were talking about that you don't want that come along with dysregulated cortisol levels. Do a little breathwork exercise that is helpful for calming the nervous system down. So if you are in the car and you feel really anxious and rushed, or if you are trying to get from one meeting to the next and you feel really anxious and rushed, no matter where you are, you can do this. You don't even have to tell anyone around you that you're doing it. You can just do this breath wherever you're sitting. And what I like to think about when I'm doing this breath is, what is a more peaceful, what is a more calming, what is a less anxiety-inducing thought than the one that is currently driving my nervous system to feel out of whack. So we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, open your mouth, exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, release for 8. just keep repeating that breath. As you inhale, really try to fill and expand your lower belly. As you exhale, really elongating the exhales, because the longer exhales and inhales calm down your nervous system. They start to slow everything down. They start to bring your body back to a place where it can feel safe. So doing that breath, thinking, what's a more positive thought right now? Because our thoughts, that's the thing, they're not true. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. And sometimes we create this perceived stress, this perception of stress that doesn't actually have to be there because of thoughts that we've been repeatedly thinking, whether it's about ourselves or about someone we're about to interact with, for a very long time. And so how could we shift into a more positive thought? Maybe that person isn't judging you. Maybe you do look amazing today. Maybe you are doing enough. So start to think more positive thoughts. Now, the last note that I want to end on is to talk a little bit about supplements with you guys, and supplements that help to restore the nervous system. So let's head back into the kitchen and we can talk about it. When it comes to healing your adrenals, there are definitely some supplements that you can start to take if you actually confirm with your doctor that your cortisol levels are out of whack. The best way to do that is to do a 4-point cortisol test. So you're testing your saliva at 4 points throughout the day. Just doing a morning cortisol level typically isn't enough and isn't going to give you enough information, but that's what a lot of Western doctors will do. So we'll do vitamin C. That's found in abundance in your adrenal cortex and is absolutely critical for the synthesis of adrenal hormones. So you'll need a lot of extra vitamin C. The good thing is that it'll also support your immune system. Ashwagandha, which is great for calming and grounding the nervous system. Doing a little bit of a powder, like in a nighttime latte, is a really great way, and no caffeine in that. Caffeine is something you definitely want to watch and avoid when you're trying to heal your adrenals. Some vitamin B6 is a great way to calm your adrenals and to give yourself some of the nutrients that may have been depleted through chronic stress. Magnolia bark is very calming. That's actually an herb that you can take. Typically we'll take that once in the morning and once at night to help to calm and ground the nervous system. And I think that that's it. Those are my best recommendations for starting to manage and deal with high cortisol. So if you are somebody who is always overwhelmed, always in fight or flight, I hope that this video is helpful and gives you some insight. And I want you to remember that the mental work is your foundation for healing. And then the physical things like balancing your blood sugar, getting rid of caffeine, minimizing alcohol, taking supplements, all of that stuff is secondary, because it will not work until you do the mental work that is necessary. If you did like this video, head over, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you guys next week.